So today is December 21st, and here in the Northern Hemisphere that means it is officially the winter solstice, or the first day of winter, and today I will be sharing a very special winter TBR with you. Hello fellow book lovers, I am Kaylee, and today I want to share 7 books that are on my winter TBR. Seeing as today marks the first day of winter, it seemed like the perfect time to share these reads that I'm hoping to get finished in the next few months while it is officially the winter season. All of these have been on my TBR for a year or more, which is part of the reason they are on my winter TBR for this year. I will have more information about my 2021 reading goals in next week's video, so be on the lookout for that if you are interested, but it suffices to say that I am trying to be a little bit choosier about which books to prioritize when it comes to finishing off some of the books on my shelf. So let's just jump right into the books. So the first book I want to talk to you about today is High Rising by Angela Thirkell, and it's been, I think, 4 or 5 years since I first heard about Angela Thirkell over on Angie's channel, Beyond the Pages. She hasn't posted a video in a while, but she has a very large backlist of videos that are very awesome. She reads a wide variety, and I highly recommend her channel if you are not familiar with it. So this follows a woman who has gone to her kind of winter country home for the holidays with her son, and one of her close friends has gotten caught up with a scheming secretary, and it's kind of up to her to keep him from ruin, so to speak. And it just sounds like one of those delightful, cozy, British sort of books, and it's been on my shelf for years, and I keep intending to read it, and I just never have. So I'm really looking forward to diving into this book this winter and getting just all of the cozy British feels. So the second book I want to talk about today is As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meisner, and this is a historical fiction novel. It is set during the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic, and it's supposed to be a mother-daughter story. So this has been on my shelf since January of 2018 when it was my book of the month pick, and I keep intending to start it and then something holds me back. But I would really like to get to it and decide whether or not I like it. I realize this is probably kind of the wrong year for this book, or maybe it's the perfect year for this book. I guess I will find out when I try to read it, considering that it's set during the flu epidemic of 1918. Susan Meisner is really well known. She's written quite a few novels, I think somewhere in the dozen range, and I remember reading Bridge Across the Ocean several years ago and enjoying it, which is why I picked this book as my book of the month selection that month, and for some reason I just didn't get to it. So the next book I want to talk about is, I'm planning on starting today, the day that this video goes live, and you'll see why in just a minute, and that is Rosamund Pilcher's Winter Solstice. And yes, I am starting this today because of the title. So a woman, when her friend suffers a tragic loss, they go off to stay in a Victorian house in Scotland, and this house is filled with a bunch of kind of, I'd say, broken people going through hard times, and it's about the community that they kind of create there, at least if I understand the story correctly. Rosamund Pilcher is an author I've never read before, but I have been intending to read for some time. I actually have quite a few of her novels that I've collected at secondhand stores over the years, and I just never actually dived into her work. But I thought that this was the perfect time to pick this up, seeing as it's been on my shelf for, I don't even know, another 2-3 years, and I decided to give her a shot this year because I'd like to know whether or not her work is actually for me. If you're enjoying this video, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe if you want to keep up with the content as I'm posting it. So the fourth book I want to talk about today is a book that has been everywhere for the last few years. It is one of those books that got a lot of buzz, and it went on to my TBR because it sounded right up to my alley, but I haven't gotten to it yet, and that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. So I'm sure that you've heard of this book. It's been all over the place for years now, and the other books in the series just get the buzz going again every time they come out. And it is a Russian-esque fairy tale. It's set in Russia, and it has like fairy tale themes in it, and it sounds exactly like something I would love. But like a lot of things with a lot of hype, I get nervous about whether or not I'm actually going to love it or if it's going to live up to the hype, and then I just kind of push it off because I'm afraid that I won't love it. And if it's on my shelf and I haven't read it yet, there's still the possibility that I will adore it. But I decided that this is the time to give this a shot and find out if I do love it. I actually have this and the second book on my shelf, so I just think that I should probably get to them and see whether or not they're for me and whether I want to continue on with the series. So the next book on my list is East by Edith Patel, I think is how you pronounce it. This I first heard about over on the channel, Giselle Rose's channel. I think it's Giselle Bradley. And it is a retelling of East of the Sun, West of the Moon, which is a Scandinavian fairy tale myth that I've always really loved since I saw The Polar Bear King when I was real little. And so whenever I see a retelling of it, I feel the automatic need to read it. And so I heard really good things about this over on her channel, and I picked it up, found a copy, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. But I do absolutely adore this cover. It's beautiful, and I really, really do want to get to it. There is a sequel, which is West, which is of course the other half of that I've heard some things about, and so I want to get to this and see if I want to continue and read the other half of the tale. So the next book I want to talk about is Early Riser by Jasper Fforde, and this has been on my TBR since February of 2019 when it was my Book of the Month selection. It's on this list because Bridget over at Books with Bridget mentioned it in a Cozy Winter Reads video she posted recently, and it reminded me that I had it and that I wanted to read it. And so yes, thank you Bridget for reminding me that I needed to read this book. So this follows basically the society, it's in the future, and most of the society hibernates during the winter these days due to a bunch of things that have happened, and there's just a very select group of people that stay awake to monitor the situation. And this is definitely a science fiction type book, so there's things that are going on, and I don't know a ton, and I'm trying not to know a ton until I get into it, but it sounds like a lot of fun, and I've been intending to read it for over a year, almost 2 years now, and this is the year that I get it done. Well, this is the winter that I get it done, I guess, since it'll probably be January before I actually start it. But yes, this book will be read this winter. And so last but by no means the least, actually it might be the book I'm most excited about on this list. I'm pretty excited about all of these titles. That is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, and this has been on my TBR since July of 2018. So I read Uprooted 2016, 2017 and adored it, and then this book came out, and it's in the same world as Uprooted, and I've wanted to read it. And much like I put Uprooted off for a good year or more, I've been putting this off because I'm afraid it won't live up to my expectations. But I really want to get to it. I've been thinking about it more and more and more about how I wanted to read this book, and this seems like the perfect time because it's about snow and ice, and it's a sort of a Rumpelstiltskin retelling almost. So, but if it's anything like Uprooted, it's not exactly what it appears to be by the blurb. So yes, I'm very excited to get started with this book in the near future because this just sounds like a wonderful winter type feeling book, and I have loved everything of Naomi Novik's that I've read so far. So there you have it. There are the 7 books on my winter TBR. Obviously these are not all of the books I'm planning to read this winter. These are just the wintry themed books that I'm planning on reading this winter. What are your plans for this winter? Do you have any winter themed books on your TBR? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy reading.